Welcome to the Set Apart Podcast. Today we have a special guest, my good friend Robert Ramos. Oh my gosh, if you hear Robert's story is amazing. Diagnosed with cancer, he's free of cancer. He's a man of God, preaches the word, shares the word. How he does it, man, differently. But his actions, the way he treats people, the way he is, everywhere he goes, he's the light. So today I invite you to sit down and listen to Robert's story.
My name is Roberto Ramos. I'm going to tell you how I came to Christ. I came to Christ due to that I was out there gangbanging, doing drugs, stealing. There was things that I've done that I regret. I was like, wow, I think about it. It's like, wow, you know what, poor person, I shouldn't have did that to them. I won't say what I did. It's not something to brag about, but I do regret everything that I've done. I feel bad now that I'm a changed person. Wish, that other people would, think the way I would think, and just like, wow, it's not, I shouldn't do that. But then when you're on drugs and you're out there stealing, you don't think about things like that. Because I could have easily been shot, stabbed, for doing something dumb. Or I should say, doing something stupid. It's not worth it. Robert in the past was a person that was on the streets, was homeless, doing drugs, drinking, wheeling and dealing out there. You just, getting high, just to make it by. I started, I started smoking marijuana at the age of 15, started getting high. Then I tried coke. And then I just kept on doing coke. And then finally, when PCP came out, I did PCP with my cousins, hanging out, at my uncle's house. And then finally the meth came out and started with meth and just started being out in the streets. But I even tried heroin, but that wasn't my high. I didn't like the feeling of it. So I was like, that's not me, but I did everything else from pot to meth to PCP. After a while, I got tired of it. It was a life that wasn't worth, doing. And when I started off, it was fun and games. But then as I was getting older, I realized it ain't fun and games. I lost my dad at the age of 12. So I really didn't have my dad wasn't around. I had an uncle that he was like my dad. He was, whenever he would change a motor to a car, he would always, have his daughter go and get me. So I'd go and help him. He was trying to teach me the right from wrong, but I would kind of ignore it. And then he knew, my situation. And finally he but he was still there for me, and I appreciate that he was there. But I do miss, now that he's not with us anymore, I do miss, going with him and helping him out, work on cars and stuff, because I did learn a lot from him. And when I was doing that, I met this one guy by Gus. They opened a bakery in the same in the parking lot in the same area I was at, same plaza, that little plaza there. And one day I was standing by the liquor store, and he says, "Hey," he goes, "come and give me a hand." So I went and helped him, and then I started helping him, like unload his truck and stuff. Up to now, I still keep in touch with him, but I enjoy, helping out him out just as much as I enjoy helping out the second time store. I was in the warehouse, and one of the coworkers, it was hot that day, and I remember wiping my forehead with my shirt. And she says, "Hey," she goes, your stomach's yellow." And I told her, "No," I said, "it's the lighting in the warehouse." And she says, "No." So I ignored it. And it was, at the time, I didn't know what it was, but to find out it was jaundice that I had got, because then my eyes and my face, my body was turning yellow. So finally I went to Global and they couldn't find anything wrong with me. I went a few times to Global, a few times, and finally they just kept sending me home with painkillers. I would get stomach pain so bad that I would cry under my blanket, jump in the shower just to cry. That's how bad it was. Finally, I went to UCI. They did blood work on me. Then the doctor comes in and starts asking me about cancer. So I kind of realized, I kind of like started thinking, well, he's asking me about cancer. Do I have cancer? I was trying to ignore it, but it was cancer, but I didn't know what kind either until I talked to the doctor and I told him, I kept asking him, do I have cancer? Do I have cancer? He goes, I'm not sure. I can't say yeah and I can't say no. I even asked one of my nurses. And she goes, I can't tell you. But I talked to the doctor and I told him, whatever you do, don't beat around the bush with me. Be straight out. Because if I find that you're beating around the bush, then you're going to hear me. So I kept doing more blood work. He comes back. And he says, okay, Mr. Ramos, he goes, I'm not going to beat around the bush. He goes, you do have cancer. You have it in your pancreas. It's called pancreatic cancer. I said, well, okay. He goes, we're going to give you chemo. We'll start you off with chemo, and the chemo don't work, then we'll do radiation. And then I said, okay. So started doing radiation. I started doing chemo. I went to the cancer doctor. I met with him. And then he was explaining to me about chemo. And there were some questions I asked him. I asked him, with all this, I said, is it true that with chemo, it makes you go to the restroom without realizing it? Or I said, because people have been telling me, you got to work, pamper when you're on chemo. And they said, no, it's just, it's up to your body. It depends on your body, how it reacts to it. I said, okay. So I was doing chemo and they were shrinking the cancer little by little. Finally, I went through all my chemo and I was going to get a CT done on me to see how small it was. And then finally, it was time for my surgery came up, but then I was diagnosed with COVID. So they had to postpone my surgery. I was like, oh. I just said, Lord, just take. But it's wasn't my time. So I kept going, finally I waited 2 weeks. Finally, they tested me for COVID. I was clear. So the surgeon said, we're gonna do it. So finally, I went in for my surgery. And then I went, I had to be there. I was there at 5 a.m. Went, registered in, went up to the second floor for them to get me, to take me to get prepared. for my surgery, there was a nurse. She came up to me and says, "Everything's gonna be okay. You're in good hands with the surgeon. With the surgeon that's gonna do surgery on you. He's real good at it." She goes, "Don't worry, you'll be okay." So I went in for my surgery, and they were, they prepared me and everything. And there was a gentleman there, and he says, "You okay?" I said, "Yeah." But honestly, I was scared. I kept thinking, well, if I don't wake up, I don't wake up. It was like a 10-hour surgery that took place. I went through it, made it through. I went to recovery. When I came out of it, I asked a gentleman there, is he done yet? And he said, "You're in recovery." I was like, "What?" He goes, "Everything went well." He goes, "Everything went well with your surgery." He goes, "But you're in recovery." He goes, "You made me laugh when you're asking me if the doctor was done yet." I was like, "Wow." I said, "That was quick." He goes, "No." He goes, "That was a 10-hour surgery that took place." I still go to the surgeon, see him. I still go and have CTs done on me. I also go to Los Alamitos to, have see the cancer doctor there. And then recently he had me go do a CT scan, and everything is looking good still. I just, thank the Lord for giving me a second chance. Anybody that has cancer, I know what they're going through. I don't wish it. I don't wish this. Not even on my worst enemy. I don't wish, this on them. The pastor had a program, a men's home, and I came into the program in 2017. The program was for a year. I came in, worked for the pastor for a whole year for free because I was paying for being there, food, room and board. So from there on, from that year, I learned a lot here. I also worked for the pastor. Well, I worked for somebody else for a while, for a couple of months. I didn't really like what I was doing there. So I talked to the pastor, and he brought me in, and I was working for him. And 2018 is when I had finished the program, but I came in with the pastor I'm going to say from 2017 till 2024. Over 7 years, working with him. I was a driver at the time. So then when I got sick, everything came to a stop, but I still come and volunteer with them. I do a food drive on Fridays. We do popcorn on Saturdays. I'm here on Mondays. They don't receive merchant donations on Monday, but I'm here on Mondays just letting donate. Customers know that there's no donations accepted. I'm out, in the parking lot. I'm also, I also help the customers to find a parking. I try to accommodate everybody as much as I can. But other than that, I enjoy, coming and helping out. I'll even come on my spare time, come and help out at the store, talk to the customers. I, enjoy, doing a lot of things here. A friend of mine was, he had changed his life. He gave himself to the Lord, and he was going to Calvary Chapel. Yeah, I would go to Calvary Chapel. That's where he was church. And then he would invite me, and I would go with him. I would go with him. He had told, when he invited me, he goes, "Come to church with me." He goes, "I don't expect you to change right away, because that's up to you." So I'd go with him, and hear the word. And after church, he would go, okay, let's go eat something. And I tell him, hey, bro, I don't come with you, to go eat, because I would go with him more than once, and I've been with him more than once to Calvary. Every Sundays, they would say, hey, you want to go to church with me tomorrow? On Saturdays, he would ask me, yeah, I'll go. He would come and pick me up. And I'd tell him, look, I'm not going with you because I want you to take me to eat or, have lunch. And he's like, no, I'm inviting you because, I'm just, hopefully you can change your life. He's the way you're going. He goes, I don't know if you're going to last long. But he was being honest with me. So then I would go, then I stopped going. Then I would think about it. It's like, no, I'm not ready. So finally, I met this a gentleman by the name of Jaime and Lola. They would come to the Second Time store to volunteer. And one day they brought me, just to volunteer to help out. And at the time, I came with them. And I don't remember how it came that that the pastor had a men's home. So then finally, I talked to somebody, and then they talked to Paul. He was the director at the time. And then he interviewed me. And then after that interview, I got interviewed by Pastor Rich. Then it was on the third day I was here. I had to come to volunteer, and he wanted to see, if I was serious about it, I believe. And on the third day I was here, he had told the director, he's in, So then the director came to me and said, oh, hey, Robert, you're in. Pastor's you're in the men's home. He goes, you want to go get your clothes? Your change your clothing? I was like, no, because where I was staying at, it was my cousin's house. Most of them, they were all, using meth, and I didn't want to go over there, and then I didn't want them to tell me, here, take some for, you're going to need it. I just told them, no, I said, it's only material. That's replaceable. So I got clothing from here at the thrift store, and I went with Paul and the guys back to the men's home. And I did it. I stayed with them. I'd come over here to work, because I was paying my dues, being at the men's home and food. So being here, for that whole year, it did me a lot of good. The second month that I was here, the devil was like, what are you doing here? You don't need it. And I kept thinking, what am I doing here? I don't need to be here. Why am I here? But then I realized, I would think too. I would open the Bible and I'd read it. Then I would start thinking, well, I can't leave because I want to change. I want to change my life. I don't want to be, back on the streets, using again. And I said, that's over. I'm getting old for this. So finally, I kept praying and reading the Bible. And finally, I just rebuked the Satan. And finally I started, kept on, reading more and more. And there was times the devil would attack me, but I wouldn't let it, get to me. We talk to people, hey, you know what? Why is this happening to me? And they told me, why? Because you were with the devil at the time. And now that you're no longer with him, he wants you back. So he's going to mess with you. I said, okay. Then they explained to me what to do and stuff. And I prayed and would read the Bible and stuff. And I finally got to change. And now that my sisters and them in my family, they see me, they're like, wow, you were serious about changing your life. I said, yeah. I said, I had to, because if I would have probably came to the Lord, I'd probably would be under 6 feet underground already. But with the Lord being here for me and helping me, and giving me a second chance with the cancer that I had, I owe it all to him, And I believe he's still not done with me. So he gave me a second chance to be here. So I still gotta finish his work in order for me to go home. And I'm gonna do But you know what? I'm going to do his work until I'm not able to do it. And he says, okay, come home now, son. You know, but the Lord did give me a second chance. And I know there's people out there that don't believe that he's a healer. I'm his proof that he is a healer. Robert here today is volunteering at this thrift store. Like I said, I enjoy being here. I enjoy working with everybody here. I joke around. I joke around with the customers. There's people that, well, you know, when I wasn't here for the month of December, they were asking for me, and they were like, hey, they're asking the employees here, where's Robert? Where's Robert? Especially on Saturdays, because Saturday is a popcorn day. I come in, I get my machine set up. I come in wanting to do it with my heart. And then I put love into it. I love seeing the, you know, kids come in, mom, you know, palomitas, palomitas. But I do feel bad because I got to tell them it's for on the way out. My mistake was I gave some people some popcorn and I was down the aisles picking up popcorn in the stores. So I was like, it's, you know, it's on for on the way out, you know. Look for a home. Look for a sober living home. Give yourself to the Lord. Open your heart, because the Lord is knocking on the door. All you got to do is open it to let him in. He can change you. He can change you like he changed me. But you got to be serious about it. Don't let the devil fool you. Don't let him fool you, because he'll destroy you and your family. He will take you from your family, and he's the one that's going to be laughing. And whether you're a female or a male doing drugs and you want to stop, there's places out there. There's programs you can go to. Try it out. I came to the pastor's program. It helped me out a lot. So if you want to stop, you got to be serious about it. Accept the Lord. Open your heart to the Lord. But you can't be lukewarm either. Lukewarm is when you got 1 foot in and 1 foot out. You got to be either fully in or nothing. But the Lord will help you. He will guide you. The Lord is there for all of us. Whether we're using or not, he still loves you. The way he loved me. And I thank him for giving me a second chance to be here on earth and let people know what's up.